For over a decade, Jim Bob Duggar paraded his massive family in front of the world, preaching a gospel of absolute financial independence. Buy used, save the difference, and never, ever go into debt. It was the ultimate conservative wealth flex. We saw the airplanes, the heavy machinery, the sprawling commercial properties, and the multi-million-dollar compound in Tontitown, Arkansas. Jim Bob positioned himself as the untouchable patriarch of reality TV, a man whose resources were as deep as his control over his family. But behind the closed doors of their private community, and far away from the network cameras that used to fund his every whim, a very different reality is playing out. Is the Duggar empire under pressure? The real reason Jim Bob is secretly selling off the family land will surprise you. Welcome back to Jenny Exposé, the only place you need to be for the most jaw-dropping reality TV deep dives and untold truths. If you are as obsessed with unraveling the complex webs of reality television families as I am, you need to stop what you are doing right now. Hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on the tea. We are dropping exclusive theories and breaking down the social media whispers that the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Hitting subscribe tells the YouTube algorithm that you want the truth, and it helps this channel keep revealing the matters these reality stars want to keep private. Done? Perfect. Let's get into it. If you were to search Jim Bob net worth just a few years ago, you would see staggering numbers. We are talking estimates well into the high single-digit millions, if not more. Jim Bob wasn't just a TV star, he was a real estate mogul. He held the purse strings to one of the most lucrative family ventures in reality television history. He famously managed the contracts, allegedly keeping the massive network paychecks for himself while doling out allowances to his grown children. He built an empire, funneling resources into his real estate LLCs, acquiring vast tracts of land, flipping houses, and building a financial fortress that seemed completely impenetrable. But even the strongest structures can face challenges, and this house of cards is finally showing cracks. Recently, the internet has been ablaze with whispers of severe Duggar financial struggles. And it's not just gossip. There is a very physical, very undeniable paper trail starting to emerge in their hometown of Tontitown. According to exclusive theories circulating on social media, a random, seemingly quiet land sale has just exposed the massive pressure on Jim Bob's vault. We are looking at rumors of a secret million-dollar divestment. Let me paint the picture for you. Over the last few weeks, local Arkansas real estate watchers noticed something incredibly suspicious. Parcels of land, prime real estate that the Duggar family has held onto for years as investment vehicles, are allegedly popping up on local listings. We aren't talking about flipping a renovated house for a modest profit. We are talking about quietly offloading foundational family acreage. Why would a man who prides himself on hoarding assets suddenly start quietly dumping properties? Jim Bob's entire philosophy is about acquiring land to build generational wealth and maintain total influence over his family. Selling off the family land in Tontitown isn't just a business transaction. It's a major shift in strategy. It's a sign of a significant retreat. Internet sleuths have been analyzing these listings that allegedly tie back to Jim Bob's web of LLCs. The whispers in the local community indicate a sense of urgency. The properties are allegedly being priced to move quickly and without the usual fanfare. They are trying to keep it private, avoiding any major headlines that could confirm what the critics have suspected for months. Jim Bob's financial standing is under pressure, and he is scrambling for liquid cash. This brings us to the core of today's theory. What is draining the vaults so rapidly? To understand the magnitude of these financial setbacks, we have to look at the hits Jim Bob has taken recently. First, the network money dried up. When the cameras finally stopped rolling, it wasn't just a loss of a television show. It was the immediate loss of a multi-million-dollar annual revenue stream. Jim Bob had structured his entire life around that cash flow. Without the show, the Duggars were forced to rely entirely on their real estate and their used car lots. But Jim Bob's lifestyle didn't downsize. He still has a massive compound to run and a sprawling family structure that relies on his support to survive. But the loss of income was just the beginning. The real catalyst for this secret crisis? It's something far more complex and far more expensive. Managing private family matters and keeping them away from public scrutiny requires a bottomless pit of money. Jim Bob isn't selling land to invest in a new business. He is selling it because he is facing obligations he can no longer afford to ignore. The whispers suggest that the sheer volume of legal expenses Jim Bob has absorbed over the last 3 years has completely decimated his liquid assets. He thought his empire was too big to fail, but as the property listings continue to pop up online, it is becoming obvious. The foundation is shaking. According to deep dives in the community, Jim Bob's net worth was hit by an astronomical wave of legal costs. When a massive, high-profile legal battle rocked the Duggar family, Jim Bob reportedly footed the bill. We are talking about exclusive rumors of top-tier, high-powered attorneys, private investigators, and endless legal filings. That kind of defense costs thousands of dollars a day. He poured a fortune into a prolonged struggle. And even after the initial case ended, the financial drain didn't stop. There were rumored appeals and ongoing costs to manage the family's public image. Think about the math. The network money is gone. The secondary income streams have dried up because their brand has become problematic. Jim Bob is now operating on a fraction of his former income, while dragging around rumored million-dollar legal debts. This is why those Tontitown land sales are so critical. It's the smoking gun. In his circle, financial stability is everything. For Jim Bob to admit to a struggle would be a massive loss of status. That is exactly why these properties are allegedly being sold in secret. He cannot afford the public image of a "for sale" sign in front of the main compound, so he is reportedly slicing off the peripheral land to scrape together enough cash to keep the lights on without anyone noticing. But while Jim Bob is allegedly sweating over unpaid bills, there is one person who is sitting back and watching this collapse. And honestly, the irony is poetic. Let's talk about Jill. For years, Jim Bob allegedly controlled every penny his children earned. As Jill revealed in her memoir, she and her siblings worked for years on television, but rarely saw the profits. Jim Bob held the contracts. When Jill and her husband finally stood up for their rights and demanded fair compensation, Jim Bob reportedly fought them tooth and nail. He used his resources as a way to keep his family obedient. Now, look at how the tables have turned. Jill, the daughter who was financially distanced, is now completely independent. She wrote a best-selling book. She and her husband own their home. They have real, legitimate stability that they built without using their family name. Meanwhile, the man who tried to withhold her earnings is allegedly rummaging through his assets to pay off his debts. The community is calling it ultimate karma. Jill won. She broke the cycle, escaped the financial control, and is now thriving, while Jim Bob's financial standing plummets. Rumors are swirling that Jill is well aware of the fire sale happening in Arkansas. While she remains graceful, you can imagine the sense of vindication she feels. The billionaire facade was a lie. The Duggar financial problems are real. But selling off vacant land will only work for so long. If these theories are true, Jim Bob is running out of assets to liquidate, which brings us to a worrying reality for the family members still relying on him. If the land sales aren't enough, what is Jim Bob going to sell next? The planes? The businesses? Could the sprawling Tontitown compound itself be next on the list? The final act of this tragedy is unfolding. When a patriarch who built his identity on financial power realizes the vault is empty, panic sets in. How is he going to fund his lifestyle now? The answer is concerning. According to the latest rumors, Jim Bob is allegedly pushing the younger family members into a frantic search for revenue. Suddenly, the younger kids are launching YouTube channels and trying to become social media influencers. They need the digital revenue. It's an alleged mandate from the top. Jim Bob is reportedly orchestrating these online ventures, using his family to generate whatever small streams of income they can, patch the holes in the boat. And the work doesn't stop there. Whispers suggest the sons still at home are being pushed to work harder than ever, flipping lower-tier houses and taking on exhausting jobs just to keep cash flowing into Jim Bob's accounts. But even this might not be enough. This brings us to the most heartbreaking consequence. Jim Bob controlled the real estate where many of his adult children live. It was a way to maintain influence. But now, it's a liability. If he needs immediate cash, those houses are no longer safe. He might have to start selling the homes where his own grandchildren live. The adult children who stayed loyal are allegedly realizing that the safety net is gone. They are on a sinking ship, while Jill is watching from the shore, safe and secure. Jim Bob Duggar spent decades trying to project an image of perfection. He used his wealth to manage his family's reputation. He thought his money made him untouchable. But the truth always demands payment. The land sales are just the tip of the iceberg. The reality TV empire is facing a critical end. The man who demanded absolute financial submission is now allegedly scraping the bottom of the barrel to stay afloat. It is a stunning fall from grace that almost nobody saw coming. What do you guys think about this financial situation? After everything that has happened, is Jim Bob facing the consequences of his choices? I want to know exactly where you stand. Is he getting what he deserves? Comment your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Jenny Expose, and turn on your notifications so you are the first to know when we drop our next deep dive. Until next time, stay skeptical, keep questioning everything, and I'll see you in the comments.